Hi, I'm Jake, 32, and last month my life blew up when my in-laws tried to sabotage my wedding by having my wife's sister walk down the aisle first. In a wedding dress. Let me walk you through the most insane revenge scheme I've ever been part of, and I've worked in corporate HR. My wife, let's call her M, was the classic scapegoat. Her sister? The golden child. If you've lived that dynamic, you already know how it goes. M was blamed for everything, sidelined, gaslit, and guilt-tripped her entire childhood, while her sister was spoon-fed compliments and cake, literally. So when we got engaged and decided to hold the wedding in her hometown, she hesitated to tell her parents. But I insisted. I like to face problems head-on, or at least secretly record them with a high-quality mic hidden in my pocket. Which, thank God, I did. Because during that lovely little meeting with her parents and golden child sister, they presented me with a condition for helping fund the wedding. Her sister would walk down the aisle, first. In a wedding dress. With a cake. So she could have the experience. Because it wasn't fair for a younger sibling to get married first. I wish I was joking. I laughed. Then I left. Then I plotted. Because that was the moment I knew, if they wanted a wedding drama, I'd give them one they'd never forget. So I went home to M, my then fiancée, now wife, and told her what happened. She stared at me in stunned silence while I played the recording. Halfway through, she blinked and said, "They actually said that? Out loud? With their mouths?" I nodded. "And you didn't flip the table?" I grinned. "Nope." I smiled, said I'd think about it, and left. That's when the fun began. You see, M had been emotionally wrung out by her family for years. I wasn't about to let them poison our wedding too. But the revenge had to be clever. Legal. And absolutely airtight. First, we brainstormed. Fake venues. Double-booked ceremonies. Hiring a decoy bride. The ideas got wilder and more wine-fueled the longer we stayed up. Eventually, we settled on a plan that was simple but devastating. Let them think we agreed. Let them pay. Let them plan. Let them think they're in control. Then shut them out at the last second. We'd play nice, keep all communication verbal, so no evidence, let them suggest upgrades they wanted to pay for, then shut it all down on the big day with hired security. No sister. No stunt. Just me and M, getting married while her sister sobbed in chiffon outside. But that wasn't enough. We wanted them to feel it. So I started buttering them up. I told them I understood their tradition. That I'd seen M's emotional outbursts, and wanted to avoid wedding day drama. I even said we'd do everything their way, as long as we kept things discreet. No texting. No emails. Just in-person talks. For sensitive topics, like how to sneak the sister into the ceremony. I was playing the doting idiot. They bought it. And they loved it. My sister-in-law was skipping around like a Disney princess. My mother-in-law was weeping with joy. My father-in-law offered to pay for the most expensive champagne once he heard we'd do the flower arrangements his daughter liked. And every single time, I smiled, nodded, and agreed. Meanwhile, M and I were documenting everything. Every upgrade they offered. Every time they made the wedding more about the sister than the bride. We even started calling it the sympathy ceremony, whenever we were alone. Then came the wedding dress. And that's where things nearly blew up. The dress was almost the undoing of the entire plan. You see, M had found her dress months earlier. It was everything she dreamed of, elegant, simple, just enough sparkle to say, "I'm the bride," without shouting it from a mountaintop. And it looked incredible on her. But then came the curveball. Her mom offered her an heirloom dress. It wasn't ugly exactly. But it was beige. Stiff. And tailored for a completely different body type. Think 1980s debutante ball meets Victorian haunting. My wife tried it on once and said she looked like a mummified cupcake. We were planning to politely ignore the offer and go with the original dress. But then M's mom texted, saying, "So glad you've agreed to wear the family gown. It'll mean so much to your sister." That text ruined our nothing in writing rule. We froze. If we went against it, they could claim betrayal. If we agreed, the dress sabotage plan was off the table. M was panicking, thinking maybe we should just give up the whole scheme. But I had a better idea. I told them to stall. No reply. No confirmation. Meanwhile, I went over to her parents' house and delivered the Oscar performance of my life. I showed them a scrap of lace that had been cut from the real dress during alterations and said, "She found it. She's furious. She thinks you're trying to ruin her big day." I added a sigh. "She's threatening to call off the wedding. I have to go calm her down." Q gasps. Tears. Apologies. They begged me to talk her down. I said I'd try. When I left, her sister handed me a handwritten note with suggestions for how to reframe the heirloom narrative, and asked if I could sneak her some photos from the venue later, in her own wedding dress. That night, we laughed so hard we nearly fell off the bed. With the dress drama diverted, we continued Operation Gaslight. We upgraded every vendor through them. The venue. The cake. The food. The string quartet. Each time, we told her sister, "We wish we could afford it, but we don't want to take advantage of your family's generosity." Every time, she demanded they cover it. We had the best wedding money could buy, and barely paid for a napkin. And then, oh yes, came the security plan. We hired a professional. 6'3". Earpiece. Black suit. Looked like he moonlighted as Jason Bourne's stunt double. We told him there was one woman, curvy, overdressed, delusional, who was not to be let in under any circumstances, even if she claimed to be part of the show. We gave him a bonus if he could keep a straight face the whole time. The week before the wedding, the in-laws were giddy. Her sister had already picked out her white dress. Her own bouquet. She even had a mini photoshoot booked after the aisle walk. They planned to sneak her in during the bridal delay, have her walk first. For the experience. And then vanish before I noticed. Our plan? To beat them to it. We delayed the bridal procession intentionally, let everyone get seated, and then Em walked in early. Alone. In the real dress. With everyone watching. And when her dad saw her, already walking down the aisle, he panicked. You could see him checking over her shoulder, looking for the sister. Then his phone rang. It was her. Apparently, the security guy had blocked her at the door and said, "Sorry, bride's already here. You must be at the wrong wedding." Her dad bolted, muttered something about an emergency, and ran for the doors. Em stopped in place, tears welling up, not just acting, real ones. Then our ally in the crowd, a friend not in the wedding party, stood up and gasped loud enough for the guests to hear. "He said it wasn't supposed to be you." The whispers started instantly. I stepped forward, took Em's arm, and said, "May I?" She nodded. I turned to the crowd and said, "Bride's walking herself down. Let's begin." Gasps. Silence. Then a slow, defiant wave of applause. We got married right then and there. No parents. No drama. No golden child photobombing our vows. But oh, the drama outside was only just beginning. So there we were, officially married, my wife glowing, the crowd cheering like they'd just witnessed a royal rebellion, and meanwhile, outside? It was pandemonium. According to recon from our very excited guests who kept slipping in and out of the reception to report updates like spies in a Cold War drama, here's what went down. My sister-in-law showed up in her full white gown. Veil, bouquet, heels too high for her coordination level. She strolled up to the front with a self-satisfied smirk, ready to play budget Meghan Markle, and walked straight into our security guy. He held up a hand and said completely deadpan, "Sorry, wedding's already started. Bride's inside." She blinked. "I am the bride." He didn't flinch. "No, ma'am. You're not." Boom. She freaked. Started screaming that she was part of the ceremony. That this was prearranged. And she had every right to walk the aisle. My father-in-law came storming up behind her, tried to muscle his way through. Security guy stayed chill and pulled out a clipboard. "You're not on the list. You'll have to leave." That's when my father-in-law yelled, "I paid for this wedding." To which our security responded, and I quote, "Bless this man forever." "No, sir. You were allowed to contribute." Meanwhile, my friend, our inside agent, chose that moment to come barreling outside, arms flailing, shrieking, "You monsters! She's crying in there. How dare you try to ruin her big day? Theatrics worthy of Broadway. And exactly what we'd planned." She cornered my sister-in-law and started shouting, "What are you even wearing? You think you can fake being a bride? You look like a clearance rack hallucination." Then she yanked her phone out and started filming. People from the wedding began pouring out to see what the commotion was. Cue my mother-in-law's entrance. She tried to restore order but ended up escalating things by slapping the phone out of our friend's hand, at which point someone else began recording her. Within minutes, the entrance to the venue looked like a Jerry Springer reunion special. My sister-in-law was on the ground, sobbing. This was supposed to be my moment. My father-in-law tried to threaten the security guy again and got told, very calmly, that the police were on speed dial. My mother-in-law was shrieking at everyone about betrayal and moral obligations. And the crowd? The crowd was loving it. Guests stood around like they were at a reality TV taping. One aunt started passing out canapés she'd smuggled out from the reception. Back inside, we were calmly cutting our cake. I looked at Em and said, "You okay?" She nodded, sniffled, smiled. "I'm more than okay." Meanwhile, I was getting real-time texts from our friend outside like, "Your SIL just tried to crawl past the bushes." MIL screaming about pressing charges. FIL's face is red enough to grill meat on. M turned to me and asked, "Should I go out there?" I said, "Only if you want to hand-deliver their restraining orders." Eventually, the venue's actual management came out and told her family to leave or be escorted off by local police. My FIL made one last stand, claimed he'd sue us, sue the venue, sue the DJ, still don't know why, and got the collective boo from half the guests. The DJ, bless his soul, took that cue to blast Beyoncé's Irreplaceable from the speakers. As the chaos finally sputtered to an end, my in-laws and the golden child were shuffled into their car by a cousin who looked like he was reconsidering his entire genetic line. They peeled out of the parking lot just as we hit the dance floor for our first dance. The reception that followed was magical. People were buzzing. Half in awe, half in disbelief, everyone was treating Em like a queen, which, to be fair, she absolutely was that day. She had taken years of cruelty and turned it into the most poetic mic drop I've ever seen. We laughed, danced, ate, drank, and toasted not just to love, but to liberation. But the revenge? Oh, the revenge wasn't over. My wife wanted peace. I wanted closure. And her sister? She wanted revenge of her own. Guess who made the next move? The messages started arriving before we even boarded the plane. We were still in our hotel room the next morning, packing for our honeymoon, when Em's phone lit up like a Christmas tree. Calls from her parents. Her sister. Unknown numbers. Then texts. Paragraphs. Walls of them. One started with, "You ruined my life," and ended with an emoji-filled threat involving karma and universal justice. I read them over Em's shoulder while brushing my teeth. She blinked. "Is she accusing me of seducing you into tricking her into humiliating herself?" I spit. "I mean, technically not false. But the seduction was all mine." Then came the crown jewel. A message so unhinged we screenshotted and printed it for framing later. It was from her sister. "He was supposed to be mine. We had a connection. He looked at me like he knew. I bet he's cheating on you with someone just like me. Or with me." Em was silent for a full 10 seconds before saying, deadpan, "Is it bad I'm mostly offended she thinks you cheat with her?" I said, "We should send her a wedding photo with a thank you card for the honeymoon." We didn't, but what we did send was better. I took every call log, every text, every screenshot, from her sister's screaming rants to her parents' passive-aggressive pleas, and compiled them into one glorious album. Then I attached a calm, beautifully worded message to our extended family's group chat. Subject line: "We need your help." My message read, "Hi all. Em and I are just starting our honeymoon but wanted to reach out because things have escalated. We're being harassed, verbally, digitally, and emotionally, by Em's parents and sister. They've sent dozens of messages, screenshots below, including insults, threats, and demands. They're blaming us for a situation they created entirely. We don't want to involve the authorities, but we need space and peace. If anyone can step in, talk to them, or just help shield us while we're away, we'd be incredibly grateful. We love you all and we appreciate the support from everyone who helped make our wedding such a beautiful memory. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. J and M." And then I hit send. Silence for 30 minutes. Then one of Em's aunts, an absolute legend in her 60s who drinks margaritas like water and once threw a shoe at her ex-husband during Thanksgiving, responded, "I told your mama years ago that she was raising a villain and now the villain threw a tantrum at someone else's party. I'm on it, baby." Suddenly, a domino effect. Messages flooded in from cousins, uncles, aunts, second cousins once removed. We were disgusted watching what they tried. "You two handled it with class. Your sister embarrassed herself. Not you. Don't respond to anything they say. We'll shut it down. One of M's cousins even sent a blurry video he'd taken at the venue entrance. My sister-in-law wailing in her wedding dress while my father-in-law shouted about lawsuits. We watched it over hotel room service, crying with laughter. M had never felt so vindicated. But of course, the terrible trio didn't go down quietly. Her mom sent a 10-part voice note saga trying to spin it all. We were trying to make it special for her. You didn't tell us clearly you were against it. Your husband manipulated us. He tricked us. You embarrassed our family. I told them not to reply. She didn't. Instead, she posted one photo on her social media, just one. Her and I, standing at the altar, laughing together. Captioned. The best revenge is living well. It got over 300 likes. Her sister blocked her on everything within the hour. Then came the pettiness. Her mom tried texting one of the venue vendors to leave a bad review about their security staff, refusing the bride entry. The vendor responded with, "Hi, just to confirm, you're the bride's mother, correct? And your other daughter was attempting to enter the venue in a separate wedding gown?" Silence. Her dad tried to dispute a credit card charge from the photographer, claiming fraud. The photographer sent an email saying he had footage of Mr. Father-in-law personally handing him the check, on camera, while demanding more coverage of his beautiful eldest daughter. That footage, by the way, was forwarded to us. And we posted it. With the caption, "Don't worry, we made sure she got plenty of attention." The comments section exploded. People who weren't even at the wedding chimed in with sympathy and outrage. A few mutual acquaintances from high school messaged M saying, "Your sister's still unhinged?" And, "I always wondered why you two seemed so different." Meanwhile, M and I? We were drinking wine in Italy, posting pasta pics, and casually forwarding every unhinged email to a folder titled Sisters Meltdown, Volume 1. One day, we got a message from M's grandmother, the matriarch, the real boss of the family. She wrote, "What they did to you was unforgivable. They don't represent our family. I'll be changing my will accordingly." We don't even know what that meant, but it sounded good. And still, her sister wouldn't stop. She started posting vague quotes on social media. Some people wear white and still don't deserve it. Blood may be thicker than water, but poison flows just the same. Betrayal is worse when it comes with a smile. It was poetic, if unintentionally hilarious. M laughed it off. I started compiling them into a coffee table book I jokingly titled Couture and Chaos, The Memoirs of a Faux Bride. We thought the storm had passed. But then her sister, oh yes, tried to crash our honeymoon. She sent a selfie outside a hotel lobby, our hotel lobby. The caption? "You can't keep me away forever, winky face." We were 2 cities away by then. I stared at the photo. Did she seriously drive across the country trying to find us? M shook her head. She's either lost or lying. But just in case, we sent another round of messages to the family group chat, this time with hotel staff copied. My message: if sister shows up here again, we will involve the police. This is no longer petty. It's harassment. That's when the family truly split. Aunt Margarita? Unleashed. Enough. Y'all had your fun and now you're acting like cultists. You tried to stage a wedding cosplay at your daughter's real marriage and now you're mad it backfired? Take your clown car somewhere else. I wanted to knit that woman a sweater. After that, silence. Total, blissful silence. No more texts. No calls. Just us, the Amalfi Coast, and the warm glow of knowing that for the first time in her life, M had drawn a boundary and held it. And for once, her family had to face what they'd created. But the story doesn't end there. Because when we got home, there was one more surprise waiting. And this one? It wasn't from her family. It was from mine. We got back from our honeymoon tanned, refreshed, and riding a high that felt unshakable. M was finally free from the shadow of her family's drama. We were newly married, and we had enough inside jokes about her sister's meltdown to last us the next 5 anniversaries. But that's when I saw it. An envelope waiting for us in our mailbox. Not just any envelope, my parents' handwriting. Now let me give you a quick primer on my folks, not monsters, but let's just say emotionally distant, would be putting it generously. Growing up, my mom showed affection by commenting on my weight, and my dad once missed my college graduation because he didn't want to deal with traffic. So imagine my surprise when I opened the envelope and found a check for $10,000, made out to my wife, and a note. It said, "We heard what happened. We're sorry we couldn't be there. You deserved a day that was about you. Use this however you want. No strings attached." I stared at the check like it might combust in my hands. Em was speechless. She read the note once. Then again. Then sat down slowly like her legs weren't entirely on board with this new emotional development. "They sent this? To me?" I nodded. She didn't cry exactly, but her eyes were glossy, and her voice cracked when she said, "That's the first time a parent figure has done something for me, not to me." Later, I called my mom, expecting awkwardness or maybe even a backpedal. But all she said was, "You married a fighter. And I've never been prouder of you." To be clear, my mother is the kind of woman who once said, "I love you," at my wedding toast and immediately followed it with, "I guess." So yeah? It meant something. We decided to use the money to start a joint savings account, one we nicknamed the Freedom Fund, for any future emergencies, dream projects, or therapy bills caused by surprise sister appearances. And speaking of the golden child, a few months later, she popped up again. But this time, she wasn't trying to sabotage anything. She wanted help. It started with a voicemail. Just over a minute long. My wife stared at the phone like it was radioactive. "She left a message," she said. "Should I even listen to it?" I shrugged. "That depends. Do you want rage or comedy?" She hit play. Her sister's voice came through, strained, fake calm, full of that weird guilt-wrapped manipulation they both grew up under. "Hey. I know you're probably still mad, but I was hoping we could talk. I've been going through a lot. Things aren't really going well with Mom and Dad, and I think we all said and did things we regret. I miss you. You're my sister. And I need help right now. Please." Then she added, almost like a punchline, "I've been seeing a therapist. She says we should try to reconnect." Em stared at the screen for a full 10 seconds. "Reconnect?" I said. "She humiliated herself in a wedding dress, screamed in public, accused me of cheating on you with her, and now she wants to reconnect?" Em sighed. "This therapist is either a saint or criminally underpaid. We talked about it for a long time. Because here's the thing, my wife isn't vindictive. That's my department. She's just tired. And what she wanted, more than anything, wasn't revenge. It was peace. So she called her sister. Set the terms clearly. You can talk. But if you even hint at blaming me for anything, the call ends." What followed was an oddly stilted, sometimes emotional, sometimes downright delusional conversation. Her sister admitted she'd overreacted at the wedding. She said she was jealous of how Em had her life together. She even confessed that she never really wanted to walk down the aisle, she just didn't want to be left behind. "I didn't even like the dress," she mumbled. My wife didn't say much. She didn't have to. Because the power shift was obvious. For the first time in their lives, Em had the upper hand, and she wasn't even using it. She just listened. Calmly. Like someone who knew, finally, she didn't need her sister to change to feel whole anymore. After the call, Em turned to me and said, "I think I'm done." "Done with what?" I asked. "With all of it. The guilt. The hope they'll be different. The idea that I owe them anything. I think I finally let it go." And that, my friends, was the real ending. Not the wedding. Not the revenge. The peace. Because after a lifetime of being blamed, minimized, overlooked, and gaslit, my wife didn't just get a happily ever after, she earned it. With a husband who had her back. With a family who finally saw the truth. And with a sister who maybe, just maybe, learned what happens when you try to steal someone else's spotlight. Only to get burned by it.